Alright, welcome back to the channel, my friends. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and today we're taking a look at Angron versus the world. Can anyone survive a duel with the Red Angel? This video is sponsored by CMO Games. More on that later. With Angron bearing down on the defenders of Malakbel this Saturday, the world of his awesome destructive power spreading through the ranks, many have begun wondering whether anything in the galaxy could possibly stand up to his might. Here at Warhammer Community, we'd also like to know, and we have the distinct advantage of holding his rules in our hands. Without further ado, let's gather at the top dogs from the Warhammer 40,000 dueling scene for a showdown with this very angry newcomer. Some of them have already performed against other powerful foes, so how will they stack up against the Daemon Primarch of KHORNE? The rules. Angron's massive 16-inch movement range means few foes can get close enough to charge before he hits them first. So we gave him the first turn in combat in exchange for enemies getting a round of shooting at him. So that's kind of a weird situation. I mean, definitely 16-inch movement is great, and then you throw a couple d6 on top of that. But there's definitely going to be situations where he's not necessarily getting charged. Maybe he moves up, charges something else, and then the avatar or somebody like that charges in after him. Obviously, giving him the first round of combat is a massive advantage. If anything, I wish what they would do is just have like a best 2 out of 3, and they would give each of them the charge one time, and then roll off for the third one or something like that. So Angron versus the Avatar of KHAINE. The Avatar of KHAINE had a serious winning streak cut short by Mortarion last time he threw down at the Warhammer Community Thunderdome. But will he find better luck against Gorn's chosen champion? Unfortunately, the Wailing Doom only has a 12-inch range. Too little to reach the Daemon Primarch before he's within range. Angron, Daemon Primarch of KHORNE versus Avatar of KHAINE. Round 1, fight! The Red Angel didn't earn his fearsome reputation through the strength alone. He's also a cunning fighter. Knowing the Avatar's molten form would have the damage of any attacks it suffered, Angron opted instead for sheer volume and buried the Eldari construct under 39 blows from his bloodletting sweep. Thanks to rerolls from the Lord of the Arena, only 2 missed, and the Avatar is suffering a massive 28 wounds. Despite a 4+ and vulnerable save to fall back on, the Avatar of KHAINE only managed to succeed the average number of times, and halving damage is no use against 1 damage attacks. This round of the Murder rivalry between KHORNE and KHAINE goes to Angron. So 1-0, Angron wins. KHORNE is better than KHAINE, confirmed. Next we have Angron versus a Knight Gallant. We've already seen him beat Titanic vehicles, so Angron was only too happy to pick a fight with the Imperial Knight that specialized in close combat, the Knight Gallant. Its ferocious damage output would likely seriously wound the Primarch, so that bout was a race against time. Angron, Daemon Primarch of KHORNE versus Knight Valiant. Round 2, fight! The Gallant's Storm Spear rocket pod peppered Angron, dealing 2 damage before it hit back with all 13 attacks. Despite the toughness of its Questoris-class chassis, this ancient machine lacks an invulnerable save in close combat, and the Knight Gallant ate a whopping 43 damage, almost enough to kill it twice over. 2-0, Angron wins. Do Knights even have skulls to reap? The answer is yes, 1 tiny one on the inside. Unarmed Angron versus Keeper of Secrets. As the story goes, Angron forged his sword, Samni Arius, from an unworked iron bar that he beat an offending Keeper of Secrets to death with, which sounds like a great idea for a historical rematch. Can he repeat the feat without the benefit of his weapon, striking only with his bare hands? Unarmed Angron versus Keeper of Secrets. Round 3, fight! The Keeper of Secrets is one of the few beings able to keep up with Angron in movement, so we rolled to see who got the first turn. Angron won, clobbering the demon for 9 damage, thanks to his relatively low demon save in close combat. It struck back with the Witstealer sword, nicking the Red Angel for 6 damage before its ritual knife dealt an extra mortal wound at the end of the phase, a significant wound on Angron's pride. The second round began with another rain of big red fists, hitting with 11 and wounding with just 6 due to the ongoing effects of the Witstealer's sword. Luckily, all 6 made it past the demon saves, leaving it on just 5 wounds remaining, enough to blunt its otherwise effective return blows. Angron took another 3 damage in return, not enough to save the Keeper of Secrets in round 3. 3-0, Angron wins, and gets a new friend for Samniarius. Angron versus Weight in Guardsmen. Sometimes quantity can overcome quality, a time-honored tactic in the ranks of the Astra Militarum. In light of this, we loaded up the table with as many guardsmen as we could muster for the equivalent points value, and let them shoot their shot. Angron versus weight and guardsmen. Round 4. Fight! It went about as well as you'd expect. While massed infantry have many uses, capturing objectives and burying opposing light infantry under lasgun fire, 50 guardsmen, packing las cannons and plasma guns aplenty, still couldn't put out the weight of fire needed to stop the Primarch in his tracks. They shaved off a respectable 8 wounds, but the 39 attacks from Angron's bloodletting sweep coming their way, they didn't really stand a chance once Spine Grinder revved up. 4-0. Angron wins. Recruitment drive needed. Pronto. Angron versus KHORNE, Lord of Skulls. Next was a scrap with the other building-sized, axe-wielding death machine and Codex World Eaters. The KHORNE, Lord of Skulls. This titanic demon engine mounts a blistering array of firepower in addition to its great cleaver, and it would need it all to prevail against Angron's so far spotless track record. Angron, Daemon Primarch of KHORNE versus Lord of Skulls. Round 5. Fight! A volley from its Gorestorm cannon and Hades Gatling cannon smashes Angron for 11 damage, leaving the Daemon Primarch on the back foot with less movement. Luckily, he successfully makes his charge, getting to work with his skull-taking slash and carving deep into the Lord of Skulls. Like the Knight Gallant before, the Titanic machine's lack of an invulnerable save proved its downfall, and the Lord of Skulls explodes under the weight of 35 total damage. 5-0. Angron wins. More like Surf of Skulls. Angron vs. Mortarion. Brother versus brother, a showdown for the ages. If Angron is the unstoppable force, his fellow Daemon Primarch Mortarion is the immovable object, and any confrontation between the two was bound to be an absolute bloodbath. Appropriately, we made full use of stratagems for this clash. And now a quick message from this week's sponsor. This video is sponsored by CMOgames.com, where you can get 15% off most Games Workshop pre-orders, and they go live right at midnight Saturday mornings. CMOgames.com offers free shipping on orders over $25 in the US 48, and most orders ship within 24 hours. CMOgames.com has been selling Games Workshop products online for more than 20 years, and customer service is their top priority. CMOgames.com carries the full line of Games Workshop products, including 40k, Age of Sigmar, Kill Team, warcry, paints, hobbies, and tools. Visit CMOgames.com using the affiliate link in the description below so they know you heard about CMOgames.com from Warhammer Man Studios. Now, back to the video. Angron, Daemon Primarch of KHORNE versus Mortarion, Daemon Primarch of Nurgle. Round 6. Fight! Mortarion's lantern pistol isn't in range to begin with, but to Angron's fury, the Primarch of the Death Guard has psychic powers to use first. A successful miasma of pestilence is blunted by the World Eater's Scorn of Sorcery stratagem, which denies a psychic power on a roll of 4+. Though Gift of Contagion still slaps strength from the Red Angel's arms. The fight begins with 12 hits from Angron, scoring 9 wounds, though only 4 make it through his brother's invulnerable save. Though he rolls well for damage, 22 wounds in total, the combination of Mortarion's disgustingly resilient rule and revoltingly resilient warlord trait reduce it to just 12. The Pale King swings back with his scythe silence and hits 5 times, wounding with all 5, and dealing 15 damage in return. The second round begins with Mortarion taking a shot with the lantern that glances harmlessly from Angron's armor, while a cast of Smite strips 2 more wounds from his fellow Primarch. The attack that follow are unfortunately enough to put an end to our hero, crowning Mortarion as the duel's victor, but for how long? Angron's newfound resistance to banishing and the regenerative powers of the Blood Tithe we saw in his recent battle report would allow him to return again and again, while Mortarion only needs to die once. Has the Daemon Primarch of Nurgle won the battle and lost the war? 5-1. Mortarion wins, but not for long. There you have it, conclusive proof of the utterly incredible damage this mountain of rage and muscle can put out. You'll be able to add Angron to your own World Eater's army when he comes in for pre-order this Saturday, alongside Codex World Eaters, new Khorne Berserkers, and a lot more. But definitely not the Combat Patrol, because Games Workshop wants to see who will buy models at full price before they offer them at a discount. So this was pretty cool overall. I would have liked to see a little different spin on the rules. It would have been cool if they basically just had each of them take 1 turn and then rolled off for who gets to like fight first the 3rd time, and did like 2 out of 3 for each guy, because sometimes the dice can get pretty crazy. I think overall it probably wouldn't have changed much, but for how little effort it takes to just like basically roll 39 dice and kill a guy in 1 round of attacks, it wouldn't have been a big deal for them to just do it a couple times. I think the number one matchup I would have liked to seen that we didn't see would have been Magnus as well. I think it would have been really cool to show Magnus here. It would have been cool to show Guilliman as well, but I think he would have got smacked down pretty bad. So pretty cool overall. We have obviously seen a lot of the stats already on Angron and the World Eaters. Definitely looking forward to getting a hold of the full rules and codex, and obviously the models as well. So let me know what you think. Who would be the number one battle that you would like to see that wasn't on here? Or what rules changes do you think would have been a little cooler to kind of put everything on an even keel? Like, for instance, how would Angron go up against somebody like Abaddon or Ghazghkull, who has a phase cap? Since Angron does all of his damage in a single phase, the maximum he would be able to do to somebody like Gaz or Abaddon is 3 damage, and then they would get to fight back, and then the next turn 3 damage. So it would basically take him like 4 turns to kill them, which might not be enough for him to hang on. So it would have been cool to see him up against somebody with a phase cap. Are there some stratagems or something in the book that offer mortal wounds on the charge or some other ability to do excess damage? Otherwise, we could see, obviously, if the World Eaters are primarily combat focused and they don't have access to psychic powers, we could see them have some serious problems with something with a phase cap, as you know, their shooting's not all that great, or they just might not be geared up towards shooting, and then the lack of psychic powers or additional mortal wounds make it so that they have real difficulties with the phase cap. So cool little article. I always enjoy these type of things. I would love at some point in time to do like the actual mashup with the models and just mess around and have fun with them. So for me, I think the 2 biggest I would like to see is probably Magnus versus Angron. And then I would say either Abaddon or Ghazghkull would be really cool just to see how he does against the phase cap. So let me know what you think down below. Special thanks to CMO Games for sponsoring the video. If you're going to get any of the pre-orders, make sure to check them out. Save 15%, link in the description. That's it for today. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and I'm out of here.